Hey everybody, welcome to Field of Dreams on NCBN TT Television. My name is Steve David, I'm your host. Today I want to talk secondary school football, and joining me on the set today is the new president of the Secondary School Football League, Merere Gonzales. Welcome to the set, Merere.
Thank you very much for having me, Mr. Steve David.
Good to see you again.
Certainly a pleasure always to be here.
And I know we've done a couple of things together in secondary school, and hopefully now you're in the chair, so to speak. Hopefully we continue the good relationship.
Certainly that's very important with the continued advancement and promotion and development of youth football.
Any extra work you've been doing? Anything that makes it more tedious for you, or are you still going through your way in that cool manner that you usually do?
Tremendous amount of meetings.
Yeah.
That certainly has increased.
Yeah.
A lot of meeting with the officers as well as the executive, especially emanating out of the COVID-19 pandemic, although we're still in an endemic stage, but a lot of meetings, that's understandable because of the situation, virtual meetings per se. However, at the end of it, it's actually to ensure that whatever is discussed is quality discourse, and the aims and the goals and the aspirations of having these meetings is always to further advance the student athletes' career pathways.
Right.
So while it continues to remain a lot of meetings, they are very valuable, pertinent, and meaningful, positive meetings, I must say.
First, my audience or my viewers will want to know who is Merere Gonzales. And I know a little bit about you because we've done this for 3 years, the secondary school football all-star game. So let me hear and really know who is Merere Gonzales.
Merere Gonzales was born Chumakakerd Mango Ali Lavington, many years ago. Attended Success RC School, and from there went on to San Juan Secondary School. From there, moved on to Valson Teachers College. Also attended university at the tertiary level. However, within the Valson Teachers College, that 2-year period, which was 1984 to 1986, 3 choices to make or to select from as my elective, which would have been, to me, music, which I am very good at, psychology, which I love a lot, and physical education. So I eventually chose physical education because I saw this particular area would have been able to encompass the music and the psychology. And having gone down this path, I've never regretted it because it afforded me the opportunity to be involved in numerous sports. And by the way, from ever since, I've always been a tremendous activist and lover of all variety and all varied sports. Nevertheless, in 1986, having done the completion of the Valson Teachers College, I moved on in 1988 to do the recruitment exams on course that is under Mr. Osman Downer at St. Mary's College. Never exactly understood that there was something called FIFA, because I really did it with the expectation to serve football, having played youth football even at the national level under 16, and decided I will now make my contribution through sports as a referee. And I must say thank God for it, because having seen numerous countries on the map doing geography in school, I was able to now, through football, getting onto the FIFA panel as a FIFA assistant referee. in 1994, traveled to many countries in all 6 confederations. But interestingly enough, while I would have attended many CFU, CONCACAF, as well as FIFA tournament as an assistant referee, even in 1998 World Cup in France with Mr. Ramesh Ramdan, I actually achieved a lot more as a FIFA technical instructor and also a FIFA fitness instructor. I was asked to come off the panel in 2002, knowing that persons would have had to, well, they had the opportunity to go to 45 years, but I was asked to come off the panel and serve as an instructor in 2002. So it's 2002 to 2012. I was on the FIFA panel, conducting numerous FIFA Futuro 3 referees and instructors courses throughout all 6 confederations inclusive. Peru under 17 World Cup in 2006, the World Cup in Germany in 2006, where Trinidad and Tobago was a participant, which I was very happy to be part of because I was chosen to do the sharing of the latest amendments to the laws of the game on the hot topics at the hotel with the TNT team plus some other themes. The Under-20 World Cup, Women's World Cup in Canada, the first ever Under-17 World Cup in New Zealand, even the one here, 2010 in Trinidad and Tobago, and then doing several FIFA Club World Cups, about 3 of them in Japan. So refereeing has been exceptionally kind to me, and I thank God for that. And I really feel at this point in time, with 30 plus years of experience in secondary school, serving in various capacities as Assistant Secretary of the E-Zone, Secretary, then Vice Chairman, then Chairman for 12 years, it is only necessary that I continue on the same pathway to be able to provide what I feel is necessary and technical guidance to further nurture the student athletes before us. And here I am now as the president of the Secondary School Football League. Very fortunate, very privileged and honored to be president, because since 1964, and I want to really applaud all those former executive officers who would have worked tremendously hard to bring SSFL to where it is. So I'm just taking the battle, just like in a relay, and I'm going to carry it to the next level in the support of my colleagues and the wider membership.
I was about to say, as you said that, I was about to ask you, well, seems as though you're built for this position with all the things that you've done and well prepared, and nothing happens before it's time. Yeah. But so I'm thinking you're very excited now to get this?
2 years and a half waiting since 2019 and being voted into the position as president in 2021, the 15th of April, not having the opportunity to experience a SSFL season. So I'm really eager, excited by the grace and mercy of God, knowing that a lot of plans we are putting in place. The schools are all up and ready, the players in particular, and we're looking for a very entertaining, exciting and highly competitive 2022 SSFL season.
So let's talk about some of those then. Let's some of your plans. Is it new plans or same plans you're just going to improve a little bit on, or just tell us?
Well, because of the COVID-19, we had to indulge and engage the membership with online activities, inclusive of the online ball juggling competition, of which we want to commend the 3 students, first, second and third students of the St. Benedict's College, of which Josiah Sones, the overall winner. And we will have that award to be given out, or that award ceremony to be done at the halftime period of the secondary schools opening exhibition game. That will be done on the 9th of September at the Atobolan Stadium. But having said that, we also have a number of other activities that we have planned as the president, that is, for an off-season period between January and August. So there's going to be a calendar, and the calendar will entail activities such as the pilot project in a futsal competition, indoor football, beach soccer. As we have it right now, the premiership schools are involved in it, and also the championship schools, which is the first responder and prevention and care of injuries. That is being done by Dave Isaac, former physio and trainer of the national teams, youth as well as senior. We're also having the character building and confidence building course to be done by Mr. Wendell Constantine, so that the coaches and the players, most of the captains, when approached by media houses, journalists, they will be in a better position to be able to relate with members of the media. So those are the two areas that we are focusing on right now, but it would also be on the calendar for 2023. We are also going to be involved prior to the start of the season, the latest amendments to the laws of the game, and that will be dealt and handled by Mr. Michael Ragunath, and who is the head of refereeing department of the TTFA, and the MA instructors. As I realize that you have Mr. Neil Brizan, who is one of the MA instructors, member association instructors, along with Linda Bramble Thompson, who were on your show just a week ago. So there are two of the instructors plus Mr. Mentor Batiste. The three of them will be conducting the latest amendments to the laws of the game with all the premiership and the championship schools, as well as all the other schools, even down to the lowest division, which is the 13 and under. Why? Simply because of the fact, within recent times, there's a lot of changes in the laws of the game, intricate as they are, but very, very important that persons understand them, also the coaches and the players, because the more knowledgeable you are as a coach or as a player, you can always exploit and take advantage of that against an opponent or opponents who lack the knowledge of the laws of the game.
So with all this work you've been doing now, and I'm sure you did, but I still would ask you, have you had the time, real time, to form your supportive cast that's going to give you all the support?
The supportive cast?
Yeah. Group is your group, who I think you would have put together to carry out what you plan to do.
Must commend the other officers, inclusive of Mr. S.L. Seacher and the first Vice President, Sayadine Blackman Walsh, second Vice President, and she's in Tobago with Signal Hill. Mr. Azad Khan, the stalwart General Secretary, Mr. Lawrence C. Prasad, Assistant Secretary of Operation, and Jared Elliott, Assistant Secretary of Admin, for really doing a fantastic job as we work towards with the executive and also the wider general membership. We are working towards ensuring that all decisions that are arrived at will redound to the benefit of the student athletes. That is critically important, because as I said, in the off season, we also expect to have SSFL core-related activities that will always focus on the advancement of the student athletes, even in the off season. And that will also be, how can we best formulate career pathways for them, as we would also have the expected and continued Field of Dreams, which I have to applaud you for, as we look forward for that particular activity that will take place at the end of the season, because it's a platform to be able to showcase the best of your players, male as well as females. And from that, we have been able to have successful prospective student athletes who have gone on to achieve and to sustain their scholarships. So we look forward for that particular one. Among also areas such as health and nutrition, mental health and performance. So that being the case, we really want to again thank all the executive members for working assiduously, diligently, along with myself as the president, charting a way forward so that the nurturing and the guidance of our student athletes will be put in good stead so that they will be able to make wise choices in moving forward during the current season and even in the off season of the SSFL.
Okay, let's take a break now, but when we come back, I want you to think about, let's talk about when we come back, any structural changes or additions, subtractions, whatever it may be.
Sure.
Okay, viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
Current affairs.
Oh, what?
That's it. That's it.
Welcome one and all. I am Gigula, alongside my sidekick, Mr. Aruka.
Your partner in crime, Juliet.
And we are going to be live on NCBN on a social media platform near you. IG, Facebook, YouTube. We are going to be
Sensational,
tantalizing,
thought-provoking,
dramatic,
educational,
real,
sometimes spiritual,
suspense,
political analysis.
drama.
Take no prisoners, Juliet. Don't forget that part.
Coming
Coming soon.
20,000 can rise against we like zombies on Juve morning. They can't stop the
Trinidad and Tobago, this is the National Patriot Wendell Eversley, hitting you all with the facts. I connect the future with the past, elevating step by step, sweet tea and tea. PNM is the problem. We know UNC is not the solution. Soon, I will be live on NCBN. Trinidad and Tobago, I love you.
Hi, join us for your movie classics on NCBN TT Television Network every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. with repeats on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. NCBN Television, the #1 online television network, bringing you the classics.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. For the ones tuning in late, you are watching Field of Dreams on NCBN TT, and I'm here with Merere Gonzales, Secondary Schools Football League President. Merere, so I wanted to know if we have any structural changes in Secondary School Football League and what they are, or any additions and subtractions?
Yes, certainly there are some structural changes for the 2022 season, and that's primarily because of the impact of the COVID-19. As a matter of fact, for 2019 we had 114 schools that registered and participated, The numbers are a little less this time, just around maybe 92, and that's understandable because several schools, if not most of them, were affected because of the COVID-19 and having to work along with a budget to run the entire plan. I really empathize with the principals. But we are very thankful still for having the 90 plus schools ready and raring to go for the 2022 season. Because of that, and with the understanding to also have more games broadcasted live, or if not, have them recorded and have delayed telecasts of them maybe 2 or 3 days afterwards. That being said, it means more student athletes and more matches will be afforded the opportunity to be seen. It means that those scouts on the outside, regional and foreign, international as the case might be, will have a chance to even see more of our players. Because of that, we now have the 16 premiership schools divided into groups of 2 with 8 in a group. They were seeded from the beginning, from the last season of 2019. And with that being said, they are placed strategically into groups of 8. The understanding also is to have more double headers, because with more double headers it means that more matches can be broadcasted live or recorded and telecast, as I said, later on. And with it too is some additional sponsors which we would like to call partners coming on board with us. And we are yet on the we are in the verge of signing off, so I want to hold on calling, but we do have a very major title sponsor that is coming on board with us, who is strategically positioned to be able to provide more mileage and coverage, not only of the Premiership division, but also of the Championship division and all the other age groups, senior boys and girls, under 16 boys, under 15 girls, under 14 boys, and the 13 and under boys. We are also mindful of ensuring that we keep with us our present sponsors and even the interests of other parties who are there willing to come on board. So as much as possible, we will ensure that we incorporate all entities and that everybody basically have a piece of the pie to share. That being said, as the president, one of my initial plan, which remains as a priority on the front burner, is to further advance and develop and promote girls football. That being said, we would have liked to embark on a Premiership Division girls. And we actually had it in the making for 2019, but then COVID came and affected us badly. And one of the major financial support unit for that particular area that we were focusing on, we are still in deliberation with it. So we're going to hold on that one for 2022, but certainly with the expectation to embark on and commence our Premiership Girls season for 2023. Also too, with girls football is the inclusion of a girls 13 and under Form 1 competition, the same way as we have the boys. What we have discovered is that even at the primary school level, there's a very vibrant primary school league, and girls have been doing quite well themselves. So we want to have that continuation within the secondary school, and they shouldn't have to just go straight into 15 and under age group category. We are working along, having had a meeting or two recently with the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association Normalization Committee in the person of Ms. Janelle Jean, the Director of Women's Football, of which FIFA is seriously and heavily promoting a drive for girls development and football, and they're going to be providing a fund specifically for that for this year. So we will be working closely with them, leading in front as the SSFL to embark on that project. And it may not be a lengthy season for that particular division, but as a pilot project with possibly 8 teams involved, inclusive of Tobago, while you can have 8 schools, because it's a new project that we are working on, in schools where you may not have a full team, for this 2022 season, we will allow girls to be merging to form a team if and where it is necessary, and therefore they will play as a particular unit. The intention, however, is moving into 2023 to now have a full-fledged 13 and under girls Form 1 competition, but now it will be strictly, just like the boys, playing for their respective schools.
I hear you, and I hear your voice keep saying student athletes, which is so important, really. But what you have in place, or what you plan to put in place to make sure that we have student athletes and not somebody coming to the school, play football, just to play football, and that's it.
Very good question. And response to that is, we have been ever so often reminding the schools through the principals and the reps about the importance of having an exceptionally good marriage between the academics and sport. In this case, we are involved in football, which is one of the sporting disciplines. We would like very much to reach the point, and I as the president, where we'll have 100% of schools that truly understand and is reflective of that concept, which is promote the academics while the students source, seek, and pursue sporting disciplines, in this case football. We would like to really, and I would like to really see a thing of the past, which is the abuse of players who are playing for their schools, very recognizable during the football season, inverted commas are seen as football stars, moving around the school compound and not attending classes and making poor grades. That is not acceptable. While it might be understandable, to me it's not acceptable, because it means that we are now misleading these student athletes. And I'm glad you mentioned that part about the student athlete, because I use the term student athlete because you're a student first, followed by an athlete. So we will encourage and continue to promote and seek on all schools registered with the SSFL to allow the students to see the importance of attaining and maintaining a particular respectable average grade in their school, so that they can be selected to represent your team at the SSFL. It doesn't matter what age group you're playing in. And rather than shifting it around now and say athlete student, which means your focus is becoming an athlete and then a student afterwards. We are also concerned, and I am in particular too, that if we are trying to ensure that a platform is created so that those who are desirous of becoming professional footballers, using as a springboard or as a stepping stone, seeking a scholarship, it means that your GPA have to be at a certain level, even in the college and or university that you may find yourself in. So that therefore, if you were to continue practicing that particular approach from Form 1 straight up to the Form 6 level, which I want to do as president to ensure that we have a structure in place so that students who are coming into the SSFL as a player will understand this is the procedure to follow if you are so interested in going down the route of becoming a scholarship winner for football, or for those who may wish to move on to attaining professional contracts. But we know, Mr. David, that 2-3% of the world are professional footballers, while you have the other 97% playing football. And similarly, the same thing will happen, or will happen, and is happening at the SSFL level. So we are also concerned for those who may not attain scholarships or professional contracts, that they still are directed down a pathway through their academics while playing the football, could now pursue a career that they would be very satisfied with, comfortable with, and will be willing to attain their dreams. So there are many different areas, even if they don't become a professional or seeking a scholarship successfully. Your sports journalism, sports psychology, just to mention a few along the way. It may not even be involved in sport. It may be connected to some other area that is non-correlated to sport, but at least we want to be able, in the school system, being a responsible organization, to still assist the male or female student athlete to become very holistic in their approach, very positive and productive citizens of Trinidad and Tobago first and foremost.
You know, going to school now, I'm sitting and listening and I'm reflecting, and the guys that impressed me the most on the football team was the guys who came out of the sixth form.
Yeah.
I was like Vernon Tate came to mind. Like, wow, he's done so good with his education and good enough to play for the team, because I was so young to see the difference, kind of, or separated, or married together, because I thought, wow. So he was I looked up to him, and he was a big, strong dude as well. So, like, wow, he got his education up, and he also is good enough to play. So that was very impressive.
If I even mention, for example, our ambassador, SSFL ambassador is Shaka Hislop. I mean, and it speaks for itself.
Right.
Very, very well educated, and one of our most established, renowned celebrities in football, even playing in the World Cup of 2006. And I am very honored and appreciative to have him as our ambassador. So this is a good role model for all student athletes getting themselves involved in football.
So, no, the other question I have for you is, how do you prevent movement from school to school? Like in the U.S., if you move from one school to the next in the middle of the season, you have to be redshirted, meaning you can't play until the next year. How do you prevent something like movements?
So, the SSFL really cannot legislate for schools as to how they can or how they operate. However, we have a league, and within our league we have rules and guidelines with a credential committee led by the secretary, General Secretary Mr. Azad Khan, and other secretaries dealing with the credentials of each player with rules and regulations. And therefore they need to adhere to it. First, they must understand what it implies. When you can play, how you can play, if you can play, as the case might be, what you need to ensure that you do before you play, if you have to hold out for a year before you play. These are very important, and every single policy in place there by the Credential Committee is to ensure that the loopholes are plugged, and therefore there is no exploitation of it. And more importantly, the schools and the student athletes from our approach can benefit from the guidelines and our rules and regulations, because it's there to protect them and to promote them.
Coaches has to have any credentials to be to be a coach in the secondary school football league, or it has to be like one of the professors, the teachers? Or
No, actually right now, in comparison to years ago, we now have in place that all coaches operating in the SSFL must be certified, must be qualified. As a matter of fact, having said that, we just, about a month and a half ago, we conducted a C license course dealt with, done by Mr. Anton Cornell, the technical director, who has now moved on to promotion, taking up a different position now with FIFA, but leading a team of other instructors, conducted a recently C license course for our coaches, and there's another one we expected to do, but we also moving towards having a B license and also an A license, because we presently have several B license coaches in the SSFL that are looking towards having their A license too. And we are also of the understanding, Mr. David, that the more certified and qualified your coaches are, then they'll be able to impact technically, theoretically, and be able to have a better relationship, camaraderie, with coexisting quite amiably with their student athletes and the school by which they represent. So, yes.
And I hear you talk about the women's football, which is so important, and I'm glad you're touching on women's football. So we have to take a break now, but when we come back, I want us to go down that path a little bit and talk about how we're going to improve the women's football.
Sure.
Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
Current affairs.
That's
it. That's it.
Welcome one and all. I am Gigula, alongside my sidekick, Mr. Aruka.
Your partner in crime, Juliet.
And we are going to be live on NCBN on a social media platform near you. IG, Facebook, YouTube. We are going to be
sensational,
tantalizing,
thought-provoking,
dramatic,
educational,
real,
sometimes spiritual,
suspense,
political analysis,
drama.
Take no prisoners, Juliet. Don't forget that part.
Coming soon.
20,000 can rise against we like zombies on Juve morning.
Hi, join us for your movie classics on NCBN TT Television Network every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. with repeats on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. NCBN Television, the #1 online television network, bringing you the classics.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. You tuned into Field of Dreams on NCBN TT, and I'm with Merere Gonzales, who is president of the Secondary Schools Football League. Before the break, we were just about to talk about our input on women's football in the secondary schools. Give us some light on what's your plans as we move forward.
Girls football in the SSFL is of paramount importance, with myself being the president. Why? Because over the years I've observed, I experienced that the quality of the football, even sometimes the conditions by which some girls are playing football, the venues not up to par, which means as females, to ensure that there are proper bathrooms, etc. If you're going to also, as we are recognizing the importance of the boys' football, then the girls also have to be also recognized in that way. Put them into the national stadia, all right, whether it be Atto Boland Stadium, he's recovered, Larry Gomes to mention a few, Dwight York Stadium also too, so that with that recognition, with that status, then they will also see themselves as important because we value them as also important. Must commend, however, for 2022 Ascension Wolf League as they presently in their season, and several of the players, they are actually secondary school students too. It puts them in good stead because it means now they will have the opportunity to use the Wolf or be part of the Wolf as a stepping stone when they move forward to play for their respective schools. Also to ensure that we have competent, qualified coaches assigned to the girls' teams too. As I had indicated before, 2017, the first FIFA Under-17 World Cup in New Zealand, being one of the instructors there. And seeing the quality of football that these young girls were playing, it means that there's a vast amount of potential. And we do have it in Trinidad and Tobago too. In the very same way boys can pursue their career pathways through football, similarly the opportunity there and should be for girls, and that being the case, I am willing as the president to ensure, as part of my mandate, that the opportunities are also afforded for them and the respect and value be also given to them, because it's all about ensuring that these student athletes, whether male or female, be given fair opportunity along their pursuing their dreams and their aspirations.
Good, because we always forget about the girls, man.
If I may also say to David, even at this time for the 2022 World Cup to be held in Qatar, for the very first time, because FIFA has understood and still continue to understand that if you are able to make the men's time for the fitness test, which in this case are the females, historically, for the first time in men's World Cup, there will be 6 female match officials.
Good. Yeah.
So that is in itself showing that the opportunities are there, and it all means that as long as you are willing to fulfill the criteria, the opportunities will be given to you. And as you see, in the same stead, same breath, I would like to also recognize that we would like to see that happen in football, in the SSFL, and also the opportunities to be given there to them even at the national level, youth under 14 straight up to the senior level for the women in particular.
And it's okay for us to follow the women, to follow the men. It started with Adam and Eve and so on. So they always come behind. We always start the pathway and they come over. Having said that, I want you to talk about some of the changes that would come in your reign, during your reign, because we had the secondary school all-star game that we run, but there's other things that you have in your mind that you want to go even further with.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of those.
Sure. One of them actually is to have an all-star SSFL team, which we have been doing for the last few years. And this all-star SSFL team, male as well as female, will also have a clash with an all-star university team right here, the UTT, and as well as UE. And in that particular game or games, the opportunity can also be afforded for the players to be on show, to be seen by the very same universities, UTT and UE, to receive scholarships through football. So yes, that is one of the things that I'm looking forward for us to embark on. And even more importantly too, to return to an activity that we would have done intermittently, that I would like to see it done more consistently, which is at the end of every SSFL season, that either the winning team, in this case the league winners or the intercal winners, or maybe an all-star boys and or girls team, have the opportunity to be engaged in a Caribbean Classic, which means the best of the winners of the various schools within the Caribbean. Possibly we can start off with Jamaica, Grenada, Guyana, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, and maybe we can start off right here. So again, this is another platform that I would like to see us consistently work towards, where again coaches can be there, scouts can be there, sorry, to view the players, because Sir David, there are a lot of scholarships available, male as well as female. And the more we can create the platforms where our best student athletes can be on show, it means we put them in a position where they can be seen and most likely successfully attain, receive scholarships, and also be able to attain it or retain it along the way through the years that they will represent Trinidad and Tobago, for those who are interested, which I think most likely will be those who will have the opportunity to represent Trinidad and Tobago on the international scene.
Now, if I was a sponsor out there and I hear you talk about this, I would be like, oh yeah, this is something for me to get on to, because you would need sponsors, because you have traveling and all that stuff to make it happen.
And here's where I really want to thank the Tobago House of Assembly in particular for consistently coming on board and assisting the schools from Tobago in particular. And in this case, we have the Speyside Secondary. But in addition to that, they also assist with supporting the other schools within the various divisions. But as you quite rightly say, that movement for traveling purposes, as well as accommodation, meals, etc. And this is where Caribbean Airlines can also be create a major input. But I can see it is conceivable, and it is also achievable, that a venture of such nature should be pursued consistently, because by doing it, it means that more opportunities can be afforded to our student athletes. Yeah.
You know what I would like to see as well, and I don't know if you guys are doing this already, when you have games, you have all the sponsored boards around the field and different things like that, and that can, again, generate more funds into SSFL for go.
And we intend for 2022, as we have been doing in the past, that every single sponsor and or partner that we have with us, we are encouraging them to have their boards, their banners, their feathers, their buntas, as the case may bunting, available, so that we can place them strategically, even balloons, the floats, as the case may be, around the field, so that they can get the mileage that they so well deserve, because they are touching themselves with the SSFL. And while we are exceptionally grateful for their input, we want to also respect the contribution that they are making. So yes, and I want to also applaud the Ascension League for taking us a step further in the recently successfully concluded Ascension League, in so much through Mr. Ferguson was able to have the electronic advertising board, which is a step in the right direction. And possibly for the 2022 season, even though most of our games are day games, where it may end up into a night game, we may very well see an electronic board for us too. Yeah.
You know, I remember back in the day, I think the championship games was Premier League games was
Yes.
25 cents or something. But do you get charged for these games, or do you just let students go in?
Actually, there is a charge, but there's a reasonable, respectable charge. And the intention is, as we have had over the years, the teams that have their homes games to be able to make some revenue from the gates, so they could assist them with the execution and the planning of their teams, as the case may be. For other games like semi-finals and finals, of which the league would also take responsibility for, yes, we have a charge. And as I'm saying, in Trinidad and Tobago, by the way, the payment at the gate to see some of our best footballers at an exceptionally low rate. We must understand that.
Yes, yes.
If we were to compare the payment that is paid at the gate in foreign countries to see football, I am not in any way nullifying or trivializing the importance of paying at the gate, but I'm also saying that we should really appreciate the figure for what it is. And I want to take the opportunity to thank the fan base, the alumni of the respective schools over the years for really being there with their continuous support for SSFL football, as we look forward for their continued input in supporting their respective schools and by extension the SSFL through the gates for revenue making.
You know, Alvin Anderson, he never stopped going to see these football games, college football games, and I've got to give him credit for that, because I haven't been to many, but only to the major ones, you know what I'm saying? But also, I think what I would like to see as well is students in the uniforms coming to support the team, so maybe they pay half the price if they wear the uniforms or something to encourage them.
And we also have that arrangement. Those who are in uniforms, they pay half the costs.
Okay.
Those who are without uniform, they pay, so for example, $20, $40, or maybe $30, $60. So yes, if you are in uniform, you pay less. But one of the things also in moving forward as the president I would like to see is that these alumni, that we also take advantage of their, when I say advantage, incorporate their input to such a point that the colors of the trademark colors of their schools, that there are jerseys available, banners, flags, etc. like that, available for them to purchase, and they can use. So therefore now two schools are playing, and you know you have the colors throughout the entire stadium, and they are easily recognizable with their rhythm section, which by the way could also be one of the areas that we need to revamp. Maybe also having the best rhythm section, the team with the most vibe for the season, going along that way, so that therefore the representation of the various schools in the SSFL could be visible, could be easily seen for what it is, and the value and the input of support for football and through the SSFL could continue to be in the forefront of persons' minds.
And rhythm section is a new wave, I understand that. But I still like the real chant, you know, Ace and Bandix coming down, Kyla and that kind of thing. And I think all that gives you a different feeling, man, about how especially in the car.
But you know, interestingly now, as I mentioned about the chant will be incorporated now within the rhythm section. So you know, it's including everything. The chant with the rhythm, and you're moving along the way. Who could create the best chant? Which school can create the best rhythm? Which team school can have the best vibes, the greatest support? Yeah, why not?
Schools can make it a contest in the schools for people, students, and I want to get you guys. I want to see college football get big like it used to be, and it becomes a.
But just to add also one another point here too, we will be embarking very soon to involve in the off season, most likely, the student athletes within the school to get involved in the e-FIFA game on the
Okay.
on the modules, and yes.
Good.
And so it will be schools versus schools, and on that way, using the FIFA.
Good. Yeah, well, we come to the end. The time went by so quickly. I know there's a lot more we need to talk about, but we can do this another time. I want to thank you so much for being here. I also want to congratulate you in your new position.
Thank you very
I
much.
wish you all the best going forward. Anything that Field of Dreams can do or myself can do to help you, feel free to shout out at us.
Certainly a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thanks very much for having me, and I look forward for your continued support as we work together with advancing SSFL and football in general in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.
Appreciate you, bud. Viewers, thank you for tuning in. NCBN TT, thank you for giving us the opportunity. Don't forget, we have a Facebook page. You can check us out, and we have an email address, fieldofdreamstt@gmail.com, where you can drop us a line. This show is ended. Go in peace. I'm Steve David, saying good night.